First thing in the chat tonight, wow, is he gorgeous. Channel 7 guy.
It's got to be someone I know. It's got to be.
Folks, we are live tonight at Studio D. Thank you for joining us. Tonight in studio, we have Matt Bové. First time. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
We have Topher, Maniac.
Thanks for having me.
We got producer Burrs and DJ Supreme. Thank you very much. Lots to talk about tonight. Mr. Robot opening, and right after this we have Yankees Indians Game 5.
Huge game, especially here because there's so many Yankees fans here and there's so many Indians fans here.
And your Red Sox are out. Sorry.
Yeah, Red Sox are out, but the Farrell news today good. Like the direction that team is heading going forward.
Tonight's show sponsor, you know it, Rock Bottom. Why? 2-for-1 drink specials, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Let's go. Bové, thank you very much for joining us tonight. First, I gotta say, happy 4-year anniversary.
Oh, thank you very much.
Channel 7.
Literally, it was just like last week, so it is crazy. And the reason I remember that is because you remember that absolutely horrendous Bills game against Cleveland when EJ got hurt. It was a Thursday night game in Cleveland.
Brutal.
Oh, we were talking about that today a little bit. Yeah.
So I was at that game, and then I remember I started at Channel 7 a couple days after that. So I saw someone tweet about the game, and I was like, whoa, I've been at Channel 7 now for 4 years, so time flies.
Time flies. Now, when you started at Channel 7, you were not in sports.
No, I was a part-time temporary show editor, and I had no idea what that meant. But they offered me a job, and I was still in school, so you would have been an idiot not to take it. Good foot in the door, and then, slowly worked my way up.
And you finally got in sports, what, start of 2016, or is that towards the end?
I've probably been in sports. It's been about a year and 2 months, or something like that. So just over a year, but I'd helped with sports for a long time. That's why the transition was so easy. I shot Bills games, helped them with Sabres practice, all that kind of stuff. So it was a pretty smooth transition.
So when you were doing the morning show, how awful were those hours?
Well, you wake up, so I live in Wheatfield, so you'd wake up at about 2:15, 2:30 every single day, have to get to the station by 3:30. So that's really, really early in the morning. So you were looking at trying to get to bed by 8:30, but that's almost impossible.
So what was your nightlife like? Did you do anything?
It was terrible, and then you'd figure on Friday and Saturday when you'd actually want to go out and do stuff and be a normal 24-year-old, you would be up until, whenever, and then just the whole week, Monday, Tuesday, were the worst. It was absolutely awful. And then on Bills games, because I'd shoot those, I wouldn't even get home till 9 o'clock, and then I'd have to be back up at 2 a.m. It was a long day.
So you're getting a solid five hours after that?
5 hours was a blessing. It was like 4 hours, 3.5 hours usually.
Jesus. So one thing I got to bring up about Channel 7, Don Paul.
Oh, Donnie P.
Don Paul. So the craziest thing, what was it, a year ago, he just retires from Channel 4.
Yeah.
And a big send-off.
Uh-huh.
Everyone thought he was done, and then I'm sitting at the Washington Square one night watching Channel 7 News. It was on TV.
Yeah.
And I see him doing the weather, and I'm like, he came out of nowhere.
Yep. Well, it kind of came out of nowhere to some of us in the building. And, I grew up in Western New York. I'm from here.
Everyone
Don
knows
Paul
who he is.
a legend. So the first time I was on set with him, I look over. I don't even think I'd ever formally met the guy. And it's Don Paul. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, this has got to be like the best sportscast ever because Don Paul is here watching. He's probably judging me right now. Oh my God, that's Don Paul. Don Paul, grade A human. Awesome dude.
Was it the weather pavilion that made him switch?
It was
to 7?
Yeah, he probably wanted to do weather outside, so he was like, you know what, I'm going to come over to Channel 7. They look like they have a good time.
Buffalo legend.
We do. Yeah,
Buffalo legend Don Paul. For our international viewers wondering if we're talking about some kind of mafia members here. Listen, but here's the thing. We've been discussing this for years now in Trademark Sports. What happened on the November storm with Don Paul? Caught him off guard completely.
Yeah. It was
The October storm.
October storm.
You had no clue.
It was one of the most memorable, probably, weeks of my life. That was absolutely insane. that storm. I remember like everything about that week. It was nuts.
What was going on in Niagara Wheatfield?
Well, at Niagara Wheatfield, we didn't really get too much except for the power outage. So the power outage basically closed the school for the week. We didn't have it go into the next week like a lot of the schools in the South Towns did, but everything is running off a generator. And I think the Sabres played the Red Wings, and they won in a shootout.
That
right?
was when the Sabres started 10-0.
Yep.
And that was like really the game where I was like,
So like
We got a team here.
my whole neighborhood found a generator to watch the game. So it's like there's so many things that you probably need to be doing with your power, and we were watching the hockey game all like huddled around and like, this is great.
So what was that Bills game?
Bills game. Oh, I can't even remember. Oh.
On the road, I think.
yep.
On the road, NFC North,
Redskins?
In a dome.
No, I don't know.
Lions. Right? Lions?
Yep.
Okay.
Bills Lions. I don't remember the outcome.
No, I don't remember that.
They lost.
One of the biggest things I do remember about the October Storm was that Monday Night Football game. That was the Dennis Green press conference. And I was listening to it with my headphones on WGR. What'd he say? Dennis Green?
Nobody plays halfway in the week 3 preseason. Although I gotta say something real quick. People call me a maniac. In Matt Bové's world, the Redskins are in the NFC North.
What did
Right,
I'm
we
the
need to
maniac. I'm the
all
maniac.
take a
My
whole
bad.
second
My bad.
recalculate.
He's a
all
journalist,
the
not a
NFC
geographer.
Yeah, thank you. All the NFC. Whatever. The
Big-
NFC East,
big
whatever.
time, big time geographer.
Yeah, huge. I'm not the football guy.
Alright.
You need Joe B in
I'm
here
playing-
to talk
I'm
about
playing with
football.
you, I'm playing with you.
Okay, so let's start talking Sabres.
Okay, we can absolutely
Horrible
start.
start, 0-2-1.
Yeah.
You know, at Trainwreck, what do we call it? What's that thing we have that we just posted?
The train wreck tracker.
The Trainwreck
Train wreck
tracker.
tracker. Okay.
Who's lower on the teams right now, Bills or Sabres? More like who's the bigger train wreck right now?
Well, right now it's definitely the
Definitely
Sabres. Definitely the Sabres. I don't think long term, maybe it will be, because I do think that the Sabres will start to bounce back. I think it's a very, very slow start. Obviously, it's been pathetic.
Yes.
But with so many new players, 10 new players in the lineup, so many new changes, different coaching staff, all those things, I think it was inevitable probably that they were going to start a little bit slow. But oh my God, what a mess. That game on Monday was horrendous. I'm not kidding when I say that was probably
I was there.
the worst second period, the worst period of hockey I've probably watched in the last 5 years. Like worse than the tank year. Because in the tank year, you knew they were going to be terrible.
That's the thing, is it's the third game. You're coming off 2 losses, and my dumbass self bet the double, or bet the Sabres,
Yeah.
minus 140, and I felt like an idiot sitting there halfway through the second period, and I'm losing 5-1. Kane scores that
Well, that's
goal, and I'm
the
like,
Kane-
let's go,
Yeah.
2-1, momentum's back, building's jumping, and then what happens a minute later?
Not even. It was just like, oh, they let up another shorthanded goal.
Yeah.
4 shorthanded goals. That's how many they gave up last year. That's ridiculous. In 3 games, they've given up 4 shorthanded goals,
Did not
which
realize
is
that.
many as they gave up in 82 games last year.
So Matt, we're seeing a lot of like line variations this
Yeah.
week. Should we be nervous at all? You mentioned there's a lot of new players here, a lot of new faces. Are they just trying to find the right mix, or are they being a little impatient, do you think?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think when you look at the biggest one that I noticed is moving Kane away from the Eichel line, and there are pros and cons to that because they work well together, but at the same time, Evander Kane takes a lot of shots, and you want Jack Eichel taking some of those shots too. So maybe they're trying to spread out that shot variation, which is something that they could do. A lot of people tweeted at me today, analytics say that Zemgus Girgensons and Jack Eichel are the perfect combination for each other. I kind of get that, but Girgensons misses a lot of chances that he probably should bury, and Eichel's really good at creating that space for players. So if they're going to be paired together, Girgensons needs to also finish on some of those opportunities because Eichel can't do everything. He's unbelievable, but he can't carry the entire line. And Pominville helps too, because Pominville's a good player to play with Eichel. So, yeah, test the chemistry, but at the same time, maybe I would have kept the Kane-Eichel line together for a little longer, because obviously they've been the most successful line the Sabres have had.
I mean, you gotta feel like though half of Kane's shots are from the 300 level.
It's like he's J.R. Smith. Shoot or shoot, man.
I mean,
If he
just
feels like
fire.
it, he's just going to fire. And in that first game, he had 11 shots, which is absurd.
Yep.
And then in the second and third game, they started going in. He's been their best player so far. Eichel's, their best player, and it's not even close. But so far
Kane
has been probably their best player.
In a contract year, and completely opposite is Reinhardt.
Yeah, it's weird because Reinhardt, I don't think Reinhardt has been terrible. A lot of people probably think he's been terrible. I don't think he's been that bad, and he's actually created for a lot of the guys that he's been playing with, but he needs to step it up because he's not a physical force when he's on the ice. He doesn't finish all of those opportunities that he had. Last year, he had more points than he did in his rookie year, but he also probably could have had at least another 10 goals. So when you look at those stats and you see him in the upper 40s, you go, well, he was a second overall pick. Shouldn't he be doing what Draisaitl is doing in Edmonton? And that's going to be who he's compared to basically his entire life.
Oh,
he needs
no
to take
doubt.
he needs to take a step because it's a contract year for him too. And this is the difference between maybe a lucrative long-term deal and a bridge contract, which, you know, the difference is millions and millions of dollars.
Yes.
Speaking of comparing things, the Golden Knights start 3-0.
Yeah.
First expansion team.
Uh,
Did you watch that game yesterday?
I
What an atmosphere.
watched the game last night. I watched the ceremony beforehand. I thought that was unbelievable. Coming out with the first responders. For a team that's literally just been formed, to think that way with their public relations and be like, this is what we have to do. Get rid of the ads on the boards. Let's make sure we do this right. It was great. And then 3 goals in the first 8 minutes of the game. The guy from Vegas scoring one of those goals. It was like a storybook start. I think it's a little fluky that they're 3-0. I think they're catching people off guard a little bit. But at the same time, you know, there's so much parity in hockey. Who says that they can't have a successful year and make the playoffs? I mean, they've got some good players. It's not like they've got the worst roster ever. It's a much better roster than, like, the Columbus team that came in a couple years ago and some of the other expansion teams. So, good for them. It's awesome to watch, and we'll get to see firsthand next week in the Sabres playing.
Now, I know Maniac loves this topic. Do Sabres fans need to chill about the goaltending?
Yes, I think so. I really don't think that it's that big of an issue. I get that they've let in 12 goals in the last 2 games, which is nuts when you say it like that. They're not getting really any help from the defense. Robin Leonard in that first game lets in that terrible soft goal. He needs to make that save in the third period. But he also made 40 saves at the end of the night. And in the shootout, it's like, oh, Robin Leonard can't stop shots in shootouts. Mm-hmm. Well, the Sabres can't score in shootouts either. So you need to give him a little help.
People were talking like he got scored on twice. Like the Sabres literally took 3 shots. They didn't score once. Like you can't win a shootout if you take 3 shots and you don't score once.
And
Lehner, he makes about 15 to 20 dazzling, beautiful saves all game. He lets up one shot. It's easy for someone just to pick off and say he's terrible. I'm seeing quality goaltending 95% of the time out of this game.
And that Druin goal in the shootout is going in on anybody.
It was a filthy move.
Yeah, so I think that the goaltending needs to obviously better than it has been these last 2 games. But long term, if the Sabres get the goaltending from Leonard that they got last year, this team should be a lot better than, you know, what we're used to these last couple of years.
We interact a lot with a Sabres stats account on Twitter.
Yeah.
Basically, if you look at it, the only major thing is the fact that their shorthanded save percentage is like below 500.
Yeah, which is
which is literally, that's the only number outside of those 3 games that says like anything negative is happening. So basically, if they just return that to norm, shorthanded save percentage, we're talking people, they'll be fine.
It's a very, very fluky stat, and what we talked about with the 4 goals so far this year, obviously those are going to be a flawed stat, and it's also such a small sample size, but I think that gets back to normal. Breathe, everybody. I don't think Robin Leonard is that
3
bad.
games. Are the Vegas Knights going to go undefeated?
There are 79 games left. Losing your first 3 games in a hockey season is like being down at halftime in a football season to start the season. Is everybody panicking if the Bills are down 13-0, basically, at halftime in the first game? Some people are. Some people are.
Frank and Cheek Tawaga is firing missiles.
So, speaking of the Bills, before we start our first edition of the Bové Blitz,
I like that
let's talk some Bills football.
Let's do it, absolutely.
3-2, heading into the bye week. People say that this is perfect time for the bye week.
Yeah.
Horrible game last Sunday, though.
Yeah, it was brutal.
He's got no weapons to throw to.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a surprise. I think I said this probably on the news last week. I've seen the Bills lose this game so many times in my lifetime. They're coming off a big win. Things are going great. And then they have a letdown. I guess the positives are, once again, the defense, for the most part, aside from those 2 huge plays to A.J. Green, was pretty good. They kept them in the game. Literally, the offense didn't do anything. The offense was atrocious. So, if the defense continues to keep them in games, and maybe some of these players start to come back, or they add somebody, then, you know, maybe this could be a pleasant surprise this year. I'm surprised they're at 3-2. If you would have asked me before the season, I would have probably said 2-3, maybe 1-4. So obviously that's a pretty good start. 4-1 would have been great, but 3-2, you take it. I think most people would have taken that before the year.
Preseason, you would have been crazy not to. Obviously, anyone would have that
absolutely.
much. Just perspective, it's great. That shows how much of a week-to-week league the NFL is, that now we're kind of down on the Bills. We're questioning them. The offense is obviously a mess. So I just want to bring this up real quick because we talked about the Bills versus Sabres. Let's readjust here. Train wreck tracker. Sabres, Bills offense right now.
Bills offense for sure.
Is more of a mess than the Sabres.
Yeah, because at least I think so, because even if you go back to the Atlanta game, how many points did they score? They had the one touchdown, and then they had the touchdown from Tre'Davious White, that really, really fluky play. So, I mean, how much have they done? It's not like the Sabres have won a game yet either. They got a win out of that, but still.
Well,
That Bills offense has been pretty bad.
Important Bills question here.
Yeah.
Who's got the better sock game, you or Joe Biscaglia?
It's Joe Biscaglia, for sure. It's for sure. I got some Nike Elite socks going
Dry
on now.
fits.
Just
Yeah,
some-
that's not gonna
But
be
like,
You fooled me upstairs. I thought you had some sort of mountain thing going on or
But
something.
when I'm at work, okay, he's got some Buffalo socks. When I'm at work, he's got nice Argyle fancy socks. I'm just go to Marshall's and get the $3 socks and just roll with
It's
it.
practical.
So real quick, you gotta have some friends on here.
Oh,
Did someone knew you went?
We have some very
You went on a
suspicious-
10-mile
very
run today?
suspicious
They
guys.
know.
Yeah.
And
I was actually,
Yeah, but
I was actually with those guys before.
And,
Hey,
it
everybody.
says camera adds 80 pounds to Bové.
Ooh, that's not nice.
Troy LeCastro.
Troy works with me at Channel 7.
There you go, Troy.
Hi,
Thanks
Troy.
for tuning in.
Thanks, Troy.
Bills.
One last thing too, real quick,
Yeah.
because obviously you and Biscaglia, you got the Buffalo State connection.
Yeah.
You know, we had our intern perusing the resources that were made available to us. It says that Joe Biscaglia spent 2 years on the Florida State campus.
Yeah, Joe was.
Doesn't say that he studied there. Just
No.
says he spent it on the Florida State
He
campus.
definitely studied there. As you can imagine, he probably really enjoyed his time there. But he wanted to get into journalism. Florida State's not a big journalism school, so then he wanted to come home. And Buffalo State, it probably doesn't have the greatest. Are you a Bengal?
I'm
Oh, well, I live right there. I'm
Okay.
part of the family.
Bengal.
Brothers of Bengal.
Very good journalism school. Very underrated journalism school. I went there because I wanted to transfer to Syracuse, like you were talking about. And then I was there, and I was like, it's pretty cool here. I'm just going to stay. And I got a good education out of it. Well, at least I think I did.
I did the same thing at Canisius because I didn't actually get into Syracuse before I transferred, for sure. Almost stayed at Canisius. So we're talking about good journalism here real quick before Bové Blitz. We keep pushing it up. You keep pushing up the Blitz, that makes it all the more surprising. Good journalism here.
Yeah.
Is it possible that Joe Biscaglia may have been kicked out of Florida State for oversleeping his classes too much, thus leading to his trademark motto of stay woke? Don't oversleep.
I don't think so, but I will tell you that Joe, for a long time, had a really hard time falling asleep, and that's why he would watch Harry Potter so much to help him fall asleep. But I don't think that's where stay woke came from.
Harry Potter.
Are we
Joe
just
is
saying
a
his
huge-
name right? I've never
No,
heard anyone.
it's Biscaglia, but I mean,
I've never heard. I was gonna say
we're
I've
all
never
from
heard anyone
Buffalo,
emphasize
so if you
the
get
G.
with a Joe Biscaglia,
I
you're
dropped a
probably
hard
okay.
one.
Yeah.
Hard G on him.
Is it
Oh no.
Bové Blitz?
I feel like I'm
On your blind side.
Yeah. Where's Chris Berman?
This could be Bové Blitz, sponsored by D'Agostino's Pizza. Best pizza in Cheek to Vegas. $10.95 every Tuesday. They're open till 9 o'clock. Bové Blitz, first edition. We're gonna start it off with Maniac to Topher. Let's go.
Why am I nervous?
Okay, Bové.
Yes.
Favorite Buffalo journalist not at Channel 7?
If Tyler Dunn counts, then I'm going Ty Dunn. If Ty Dunn doesn't count, I'm going Tim Graham. Both great guys, unbelievable writers. Probably the best in Buffalo, if you ask me.
Q's guy, Ty.
Lowest point during the Bills' drought.
It's hard to not pick the game that was 8 years ago today, that 6-3 Browns game. But I vividly remember the Monday night game against Dallas and walking into school the next day and just the heartbreak among everybody who was in school. It was just like, how did they lose that game? The New England game, probably a close second, also on Monday night. Monday nights and the Bills do not go well together, at least back then.
Better weatherman, Don Paul or Jim Cantori?
Don Paul, easy. Don Paul's a legend. Jim Cantori's great.
He
but
didn't get the October storm.
okay, that's fine. You miss things like this every once in a while.
Alright.
Donnie P.
You miss things that knock out power for 2 weeks.
Well,
I get it.
we're in Buffalo. How many
This is
people,
out of pocket weather.
how many people in Buffalo know who Jim Cantor is?
The guy who stands on Genesee Street during lake effect snow in the wintertime. Let's go.
Let's go.
Donnie P.
Let's go.
Donnie P.
Back to Maniac.
Or Topher. Does Anquan Bolden regret retiring?
No, because maybe because he could have probably played a good. He would have been a big piece in this offense. But, I mean, he's got all the money in the world. He's just hanging out. Good for him. Oh, my God, that's the dream.
He's out trying to solve racism now. Has Russ Brandon really stepped back on his involvement wise in each of these organizations, or has he just stepped outside of the media lens and is still pulling the same strings he was?
I see him at everything. Like every time there's a Bills press conference or a Sabres press conference, he's usually there. But we haven't really talked to him in a long time. So probably, I'm sure he's still very, very involved. We just haven't had to deal with him in a while. That's actually the first time I've heard his name in a while brought up. So that's probably a good thing.
People don't forget.
People don't forget.
I'm not going to give you Chipotle. Moe's or Salsaritas?
Salsaritas, definitely.
Matt, will the Sabres make the playoffs this year?
No.
Is Byron Brown responsible for the Renaissance in Buffalo, or does he just take credit for it?
Byron Brown is great. Because I used to be a news reporter, so I used to talk to Byron Brown all the time. Really, really good guy. Politics aside, I don't really know because I don't live in Buffalo, so it's not something that I really have to worry about.
If I'm voting, it's Byron Brown consistently, year after year.
Down with Brown. You are. You're down with him.
Down goes Brown. It's like that hockey account.
Brought to you by Liberty Cat.
Night out with Marshawn Lynch,
Drive low.
Okay.
or weekend with Mike Schopp?
Oh man, that's tough. I don't know. I feel like
2 nights or 1 night, that's the key.
I feel like it's obviously a more wild night with Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like I could become wiser if I spent time with Mike Schopp. I don't really know Mike, so
Wiser?
yeah, I feel like that's probably
wisdom.
fair. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Can I get back to you guys on that one?
No.
You know what happens when you second guess on the Blitz, Bové?
Okay,
You get crushed.
Marshawn Lynch.
Go-to meal in Buffalo after 2 a.m.
Lloyd.
Lloyd's out. You're sleeping, Bové. Come on, you already admitted that. Or actually, you're waking up.
I'm just waiting. Yeah, let's go. Well, I used to be.
You get $1 million if you're right on this answer.
Okay.
Will Tyrod be the starter next season going into the preseason for the Bills?
Yes. How's that for a take?
Hot fire.
All right. Who is more loyal? LeBron James or Nick Filipowski?
Nick Filipowski. Great guy. Good guy. I wish him all the best.
Great guy.
Hashtag memories.
Hashtag Channel 4.
Oh. Just watch Channel 7.
Seriously, watch Channel 7, people.
Yeah,
What are you
come on.
doing? All these people watching Channel 2 and Channel 4.
Guys, when you're not tuning into Trainwreck Sports, like, the megas of the media here
Yeah,
locally in
of
Buffalo,
course.
make sure you're tuning into WKBW.
We
Great
like to-
quality programming.
We like to have a great time.
We got a fan question.
Oh, gosh.
Linebacker subbed in here.
Okay.
Someone asked, rate the press box hot dogs 1 through 10 at First Niagara Center.
3.
KeyBank Center.
3. Not very good.
But now there is a hot take.
That's a
Let's
serious
go.
take.
Step up the game.
Here, I'm gonna give you a reason why too. There's nothing wrong with the hot dog. There's an issue with the bun. The bun is not a quality bun. So actually, the other media members know this. This is gonna sound gross, but last year they had pulled chicken, and I destroyed the pulled chicken. I was like, the pulled chicken way better than the hot dogs. In power ranking orders, you're going like peanut butter M&Ms. There's number
Oh,
1.
hell yeah.
Number 2 are probably Reese's Pieces, because you're like, okay, you've got both of them, you can just go all in. They have a really good trail mix that I would highly recommend. I don't know what it is, it's like a pub mix type deal. Then there's ice cream sandwiches. So on a nice hot day, when you go into the rink, it's like cool down with the ice cream sandwich.
It's the most devious we've heard you sound in like 2 hours here.
When we're talking about
They
food.
have ice cream sandwiches.
And then the 5th one, I don't know, is whatever, coffee, because I just drink so much coffee. I just go to, get in the rink and just chug coffee.
That was my question.
Okay. This year, you said it. You said the biggest train wreck tracker, Bills offense. Is anyone going to step up? And if so, who?
I think Nick O'Leary's going to have a nice couple games because
Okay.
I really think that he's better than the perception is about him. I think he's a pretty good all-around tight end. I just don't think he gets the looks maybe that obviously Charles Clay gets. I don't think he's going to get to the level that he's at, but if Nick O'Leary can step up, and if one of the wide receivers, I mean, Zay Jones needs to start doing something because he's been brutal. I don't even know if he's been brutal. We look at the drop, and that's what everybody remembers. He's not getting a ton of targets, and the targets that he gets are over his head, behind him, all over the place. So I'm going to go Nick O'Leary, and I think Zay Jones is going to start to perform.
All right, well, let's get the wet floor signs out when Matt Bové starts licking those ice cream sandwiches. Final question. No, we have 2 left.
Okay, 2 questions left.
In this Bové Blitz, bigger train wreck, the Buffalo Sabres or your golf game?
The Buffalo Sabres. I'm not that bad of a golfer. I'm a pretty decent golfer.
Handicap?
We're probably looking at like an 11. I'm around.
Burrs? You can battle.
I'm about an 11.
Joust.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention there.
Handicap's 11. Handicap's 11. Where are you
About
at?
an 11.
Conflicting sources got
12,
live.
13.
Yeah. So like, you can ask the media guys. We go out and we golf a lot together, and
Don't work too hard now.
from the people that I've played with, Jay Skursky and Jonah Javad and myself are all about the same. Some of us are like Jay's probably more consistent than Jonah and I are, but we can go low. I mean, I think I had 6 rounds in a row this year that were 80. I just couldn't just.
It's the putting.
Yeah, it's the
putting.
mine's the short game.
How about number 9 at Tantera?
Number 9 at Tantera, no joke. I played in high school. I played
Okay.
for Wheatfield. I took a 15 on that hole once in a match because I refused to drop. Like, I went into the water, and then, did someone comment that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they're talking about it. Is that Nick Corantillo, Billy Lumadou? Is that one of them?
It's Nick. It's
yeah,
Nick.
hey, Nick.
Bové really gives our intern a lot of credit. He thinks we're just bringing up the a number 9.
I was like,
before
if you
setting out that-
can really pull that out, a 15 on a golf hole, and the guy who I was playing with was like, just drop one up by the water, man. And I was like, no, absolutely not. And I
It's a par 3?
And I just kept going. I just kept chucking it in the water. It's a par 3 over water. It was like tin cup. I was like too
Oh
proud
my
to just
God.
not drop the ball.
Also, at a certain point, when you hit 9, like, no, I'm not just gonna add 2 shots. I'm gonna hit the shot that I've already wasted 6
I'm gonna
shots
dunk
on.
it. It's like, if I'm gonna get a 15, I'm gonna get it in style. Let's
Hell yeah.
go. And that was probably, that was like the worst hole I've ever had in my life.
So the final question for Bové Blitz. Turn it up for this.
Oh man, it's getting intense.
Does this train ever stop?
No. Why would it? Is that a good answer?
That's great.
There you go. Take that clip and you use that.
Save this. Save this.
Get on
Save
it.
all of this, including this right now and that.
You guys got anything else for Mr. Bové?
Anybody?
You drew quite the crowd.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Seriously.
yeah,
Look,
yeah.
the crowd is just...
There's like, you guys don't see this on this video. There's like 6 different people in this room, which is really, really crazy. Because you got to remember, like, when I'm at work, like, when we're doing like a newscast, there's 4 of us. There's the anchors, there's the weather person, and there's me, or there's Joe, and then there's one other person. So like, this is way more, I'm like a little nervous, because there's all these people looking at me. So normally I'm just talking to a camera, but now with all these people around,
You guys have a wheel?
we don't have a wheel.
I think
There's a
we-
wheel over there.
We want Troy and Nick next time with you when you're
Yeah.
here.
Troy and Nick are both very good friends from home, and they like to give me a very, very hard time.
Can you get us Don Paul? How tough is it? We get Don Paul in the studio. Because I tried a couple emails with him, but he went dark.
Well, when you told him the first question was about the October storm, that's when he went dark. He didn't stop responding to you.
I'm not a miracle worker. I can try, but Donnie P does what Donnie P wants to do. He's a big deal.
He's at the Y every night.
Those weather guys are
I mean,
freaking superstars.
Donnie, yeah. I'm just a
All
guy.
of them, all
Donnie
of them.
P is
Yeah.
like, come on. You see Don Paul and Wegmans, and you're like, it's Don Paul. I know over there. It's
People
Don
are
Paul.
tweeting what's in his cart and stuff. Like, yeah.
And people come up to me, why do the Sabres stink? I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't
It's
tell
your
you
fault. You didn't sign Briere back in 07. You tried to go after Drury.
I played NHL 07 on PSP today because I was at my buddy's house and he pulled it out.
PSP?
Yeah, the little
Still
PlayStation
works?
Portable.
PSP is
Oh, yeah.
awesome. I'm surprised that concept hasn't been built upon by more kind of like it must not have done well sales, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. But I was like Briere, Drury, Campbell. The team was stacked.
Roy, Afenagenoff, Vanek, third line. That was where that team had the advantage.
Now you've got Benoit Pouliot. So watch out.
All right. We're getting ready for Game 5. Indians,
I
Yankees.
forgot about that.
Matt Bové, once again, thank you very much.
No,
for
I
joining us
appreciate it.
tonight.
I had a great time.
Okay. He'll be back with Troy and Nick
Yeah.
in the
maybe,
future.
Maybe they're going to come.
And potentially Jonah Javad tomorrow. One of...
He's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, it could be... I mean, that's a little... That's some competition right there.
Watch out, Jonah. Ooh, jeez. I hope I did a better job than Jonah does.
We'll see. We'll gauge that by the viewers.
We'll be sure
But
to
so
let
far,
the
you're
millions
killing
on
it.
Twitter know.
Let me know, because I could use some bragging rights over Jonah if possible.
Well, you know what, folks? It's Wednesday. It's time for Matt Bové and his Woman Crush Wednesday for a date. Good night now.
That was awesome.
Seriously.